Have you ever just looked at English spelling and thought, what is going on here? I mean, tough, though, through, they look so similar, but they sound totally different. It's nuts. Well, you're definitely not alone. English spelling is, let's be honest, a beautiful mess. But today, we're going to dive into this really brilliant system that was invented to bring some serious order to all that chaos.
All right, so let's just dive right into the problem. To really appreciate the solution, you got to get a handle on just how wild English spelling, or orthography, if you want to get technical, really is. It's this crazy linguistic puzzle that, let's face it, trips up even those of us who've been speaking it our whole lives. Okay, so check this out. Just take one single sound. Think of that E sound, like in the word he. Simple enough. You also hear it in people. And, yep, you hear it in the word key. It's the exact same sound, right? But look at how we spell them. A single E for one, EO for another, and EY for the last one. It's the perfect example of the problem, isn't it? One sound can be spelled in all these different, kind of random feeling ways.
And believe it or not, this whole thing works in reverse too. Let's take just one letter, the letter A. In father, it's that open ah sound. But in village, it's a totally different, softer sound. And then in maid, it completely changes again to that A sound. So one letter, three completely different sounds. How are you supposed to keep track of all that?
And just when you think it can't get any weirder, English throws this huge curveball at us. Silent letters. I'm talking about the K in not, the S in sword, that B in lamb, or the P in psychology. They're like these little ghost letters, right? They're on the page, but you don't hear them at all. It's no wonder it all gets so confusing. So this whole mess begs a really big question. What if we could create a system where the rules actually made sense? A system where one sound equals one symbol. Every single time. Is that even possible? Well, the answer is yes. And luckily for all of us, a group of really smart linguists totally engineered a solution. It's called the International Phonetic Alphabet, or the IPA for short, and it was literally designed to bring perfect, beautiful order to all of this spelling chaos. And get this isn't some new idea that just popped up. The IPA has actually been around for well over a century. It was first developed way back in 1888 for the very specific purpose of fixing the exact problems we've been talking about. And the idea at its heart is just brilliantly simple. A perfect one-to-one match between a sound and a symbol. So for every single sound you can make in a language, there's one, and only one, symbol for it. No exceptions, no confusion, just clarity. So what makes the IPA such a powerhouse? Well, it's a few key things. First, it's universal. It's not just for English. It works for pretty much any language on the planet. It's also scientific, which means it gives us a super precise way to write down sounds. It's incredibly comprehensive. It has symbols for almost every sound humans can possibly make. And crucially, it's standardized. That means a linguist in Tokyo and a speech therapist in Toronto can look at the same symbol and know they're talking about the exact same sound. Okay, let's actually see how this works. Take a super simple word, cat. In the IPA, it's written like this. You see how it's broken down perfectly into its three parts? You've got the k sound, the a sound in the middle, and the t sound at the end. It's simple, it's logical, and there's absolutely no confusion about how to say. All right, so we've got this amazing tool, the IPA. So now what? Well, let's put it to work and apply it to a really famous real-world example, the accent known as received pronunciation. Received pronunciation, or RP as it's usually called, is that accent you're probably thinking of when you imagine the Queen of England speaking, or maybe old-school BBC News reports. Historically, it's the accent that was linked to educated folks in the south of England. And yeah, those nicknames you hear, the Queen's English or BBC English, that's a big part of why it became so famous. It's also why it's often used as a kind of standard model for people who are learning to speak English. But it is super important to clear up a few myths about RP. Even though it's used as this model for language learners, almost nobody actually speaks it. It is not widespread at all. And, this is the most important part, it is absolutely not a better or superior accent. From a scientific, linguistic point of view, every accent is equally valid and interesting. Okay, so we've got the IPA and we've got an accent like RP. If we want to use the IPA to write down exactly how RP sounds, what do we call that process? Well, that's called transcription. Really, transcription is just the art of writing down sounds. Think of it like a bridge that connects the spoken word, which, just disappears into the air, to something permanent and written down using the IPA. And this is an incredibly valuable tool for so many people: linguists, language learners, actors, speech therapists, you name it.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. Transcription isn't just one thing. You can actually choose how much detail you want to capture. And that brings us to the two main flavors of transcription: broad and narrow.
This table really breaks it down nicely. So first up is broad transcription. See how it uses slashes? This is like the big picture view. It gives you the basic sound blueprint, like that cat we looked at before. It's what you see in a dictionary. But then you have narrow transcription, which uses square brackets. Think of this like putting sound under a high-powered microscope. It captures tiny details. For example, that little puff of air that you make when you say the K at the beginning of cat, narrow transcription can show that. That's the kind of insane precision you need for things like speech therapy or forensic linguistics. So here's a great way to think about it. The IPA is this super flexible toolkit, and you get to decide how detailed you want to be. Broad transcription, that's like a quick sketch of a house. You get the general idea, the basic shape. But narrow transcription, that's the full-blown architectural blueprint, with every single wire, pipe, and measurement perfectly detailed. And that's really the magic of this whole system, isn't it? Its power is that it can capture everything, from the basic building blocks of a language to the tiny, unique things that make your voice your voice. And that kind of leaves you with a really cool question to think about, right? If you could see your own voice written down in the IPA, what do you think it would look like?